All right, welcome back to writing a literary analysis essay using these handy dandy organizers here. Again, we've got our outline organizer, we've written our thesis, we've found all of our evidence for each of our body paragraphs. We wrote our intro, wrote our first body paragraph, second body paragraph, third body paragraph, and now we're going to write that conclusion. So on the side here, it says that I should start off with my thesis echo, where I'm going to restate my thesis in a new, more interesting, powerful, and or profound way. So let me look back to my thesis here, where I wrote it down in my intro, because that's like the most updated version. My thesis, as a reminder, says, taken as a whole, Kincaid's story, written in one long complex sentence, explores these gender roles and ultimately reveals that it is because of their own fears, remembered from childhood, that mothers perpetuate restrictive gender roles by passing them down to their daughters. So I'm going to kind of take that and find a new way to say it, because similar to how the concluding sentence is sort of like the meta commentary of your body paragraph, the conclusion is sort of like the meta commentary of your entire essay as a whole, right? This is like the tell them what you told them. What have I said in this essay? What have I proven? Okay. Girl serves as a powerful illustration of the ways in which commingled, I need to check the spelling of that. I don't know if it has two M's or not. Oh well, commingled love and fear alike underpin the ways in which mothers carry on restrictive gender roles in seeking to impose them on their daughters. Similar idea, new way to say it. Now I am going to summarize my body paragraphs and add context and insight. So I'm going to summarize what I've proven in my body paragraphs and explain why what I've just proved is important. So this you can kind of think of as like taking your topic sentences and saying them in a new way. That would kind of work to summarize your body paragraphs. So I have at the story's outset, a mix of imperative and interrogative sentences from the mother to her daughter establish the mother's hopes for how her daughter will behave and her fears about what will happen if her daughter does not. I've got in the story's middle, in spite of attempts on the part of the daughter to combat her mother's stream of critique, the mother persists, revealing how difficult it is to interrupt learned patterns. And by the story's end, the reader gains a glimpse of the fact that not all of the mother's advice is limiting, bearing the love for her daughter that underpins this mother's and indeed all mothers' critiques. Okay, so the story's beginning establishes the mother's fear that her daughter will not conform to normative expectations of accepted girlhood. Wait. The middle reveals just how deep the mother's anxieties go, and the end serves to offer a small view into the love that can be found at the bottom of the mother's persistent pushing of these restrictive ideas, exposing the good intentions that contradictorily lead to mothers treating their daughters harshly. And oh no, Titus, we've got a guest appearance. Titus, get out of here. Harshly and unfairly. Hope y'all enjoyed the cat popping up on Zoom. To lead to mothers treating their daughters harshly and unfairly. I've written this all as one long sentence connected by semicolons. You could easily also write it as 3 sentences, and that would be totally, totally fine. Okay, finally use a transition to connect back to the big idea, issue, subject that the author is writing about. Remember that I'm writing about gender roles here, so I'm going to say something about like, you know, this makes clear why, maybe let's go with limiting gender roles continue on from generation to generation in spite of younger generations increasing desire to shed these norms. Okay. I'm transitioning out to the abstract concept or topic that the author explored with their work, and I'm discussing what it reveals. I'm going to add more details and insight into the subject based on what I just proved in my essay. Great. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up with my clincher. This is my final thoughts. This is the last thing that my reader is going to read. So like I want it to be something interesting, right? It says end on a profound, interesting, or catchy statement about the abstract concept, explaining why your paper was important. Why does all of this matter? Why was your paper worth reading? Okay, so let me think, because I have to think about what I want my clincher to be here, because this is like the end of it all, right? Okay, I think I've got it. I know that I love the word ultimately, so please excuse me for using the word ultimately again, but I'm going to use the word ultimately again. Ultimately, Kincaid's story illuminates the fact that until all women learn to process and unpack the trauma of their own experiences with sexist expectations in their youth, we will never be able to eradicate this this harmful system. Though it is love, let's say, oh no, I don't have my nice eraser here. Ooh, that's a bad eraser. Though it is love for their daughters that lies beneath mother's fear for them, they must also have love for the selves they are now, as well as the selves they were in girlhood, in order to shape a better and more compassionate future for all girls. Boom. Okay, that's my clincher. I've like connected it back to like why this matters in a real world sense, right? So again, we have the thesis echo. Girl serves as a powerful illustration of the ways in which commingled love and fear alike underpin the ways in which mothers carry on restrictive gender roles in seeking to impose them on their daughters. We have the summary of the body paragraphs. The story's beginning establishes the mother's fear that her daughter will not conform to normative expectations of accepted girlhood. The middle reveals just how deep the mother's anxieties go. And the end serves, by the way, if you can't see that, that's a semicolon. And the end serves to offer a small view into the love that can be found at the bottom of the mother's persistent pushing of these restrictive ideas, exposing the good intentions that contradictorily lead to mothers treating their daughters harshly and unfairly. This makes clear, so now we're going to get like, this is where I'm working back out to my big idea. This makes clear why limiting gender roles continue on from generation to generation in spite of younger generations' increasing desire to shed these norms. And now we're going to get out to like the clincher here, like the so what, why does it matter? Why is this all important? Why should we care? Ultimately, Kincaid's story illuminates the fact that until all women learn to process and unpack the trauma of their own experiences with sexist expectations in their youth, we will never be able to eradicate this harmful system. Though it is love for their daughters that lies beneath mother's fear for them, they must also have love for the selves they are now, as well as the selves, that says they selves, as well as the selves they were in girlhood, in order to shape a better and more compassionate future for all girls. Boom, done. We wrote a conclusion. We wrote an essay. We're done. You did it. Yay.